So we are now at Korea Blockchain Week, just after the panel on metaverse and gaming investing. And we are here with the two investors, Yeva Wu from Mechanism Capital and Sebastian Park from Bitkraft VC. Great to meet you here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So can you tell us your story and how did you get into gaming and crypto industries?
After you this time.
Okay. So prior to crypto, I was doing my own startup and then I worked in tech. And when I followed all my crazy and clever friends, it brought me to crypto. So got in 2017, 2018, worked in different companies in crypto, and then I got into investing 2 years ago.
And what type of startup did you run?
I did a reusable plastics company.
So that's completely different
Yeah,
from crypto.
consumer B2B as well.
What about you, Sebastian?
Yeah, so the first crypto I ever bought was in 2012. I put 1% of my net worth into Bitcoin.
Wow.
But the problem is that at the time, 1% of my net worth was like $50. And so
Still not bad when
Yeah.
was
Not a
less
bad
than
return.
$1.
it's not bad return, not that much money. But
Better than buying food.
yeah, it was, although I could use the food at the time. I've been in gaming and esports the last 10 years and really started looking deeper into the blockchain implementations of gaming. Back in 2019, 2018, we made our first investment as Bitkraft in 2020, and we've been
Which
just doing
game was that?
Oh, we didn't do a game actually. We did Yield Guild
Ah,
games,
okay.
and so we looked at a bunch of games. Ended up doing YGG. We just love the founders. Still love the founders there. They're Gabby and Beryl and Al were all great, and so that was sort of our foray into all of this craziness, and then got to live through 2021, which was a crazy year.
Yeah, it is great. And how do you see the current blockchain gaming scene? And as well, since play-to-earn games became quite unsustainable, so how do you see the development of blockchain gaming?
Yeah, I think it's going to transition into Web 2 game developers trying to fit crypto into their game. I'm kind of seeing probably 95% of the things I see on the private market are all traditional looking games adding crypto into their thing and to their game. And then I think the more final state is going to be new types of games that use crypto in a novel way, as opposed to just kind of copying what happens in traditional gaming.
And actually, from what I see from traditional game developers, they are quite opposed to the implementation of NFTs and
That's
crypto, and
true.
as well as their employees too. Why do you think this is happening?
I think it's for good reason. A lot of the times it doesn't make sense. We talk about, oh, you get true ownership. But really what ownership means is you can sell it, which means you've created this financialized game. And even ownership is not really true because the value tied to it, the utility of it, is still centrally decided by a game developer, and it could shut down at any time and leave you with useless NFTs. So I think for great reason, but I think it probably started during COVID when all the miners were buying up the GPU chips. Yeah.
What do you say, Sebastian?
It's hard to disagree. Certainly, gaming is a vertical and ecosystem that's going to be around forever. Right? It's been around forever. It's going to be around forever.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's
and
part
so
of human life.
part of human existence, right? Everything feels like a game at times, and so the way it's implemented will change. And then part of it is that the world is changing, right? Like if blockchain would always only have 100,000 users, then I think play-to-earn actually works fine. Right? If blockchain only always has 1 billion users, there's a lot of things that work fine. Eva says it really well, where she says she had this point about how we are in this like unstable, increasing, decreasing ecosystem where sometimes you have a lot of users, sometimes you have no users, and that's a hard world to develop. Like we haven't figured out how to structure our economies at the nation state level, let alone trying to create these digital nation states.
And can blockchain gaming become much bigger than traditional gaming?
So that's a great question because I think by definition the answer is no. Because at some point, traditional gaming and blockchain gaming will probably become synonymous. It's like asking, can mobile gaming ever be bigger than gaming? And I think the answer is no. Like it's a subset. It'll always be a subset. But I think the better or more interesting question is like, what percentage of gaming will be blockchain? And I tend to imagine you would peak around a third to half is probably the uppermost ceiling of how much of gaming could be blockchain. If only because that's sort of the ceiling of mobile, and there was a ceiling of consoles before then, and arcade systems before then. New technology tends to take market share away from other things, but it never sends things to zero, right? In Korea, for example, they still have DDR, but it looks so cool now. You can like,
I love DDR.
I know, right? And but it's like not even just 4 steps. It's an entire 3-dimensional plane.
Oh, there's the ones that like they follow your body as well in Japan.
And it's super cool. But like those are the same arcade consoles they had in the 70s, just in 2022.
Right. Just new and improved.
And so like those arcade cabinets were like 100% market share in 1970, and now they're like probably 5 to 10%. I'd imagine blockchain gaming will never be 100%, but it also will never be 0%. And so it's somewhere in between.
Yeah, that's true. And what about metaverse? It's becoming like quite hype now. Everybody calls the new game metaverse, like the new social media or anything metaverse. For what is for you metaverse, and what potential do you see in it?
Yeah, I think the metaverse is just the internet. Everything we do in our digital lives, from talking to our friends, building a public persona, to building a whole online career. And then I think when people talk about metaverse, what they actually mean is like a 3D world most of the time. And they think that this 3D world is now going to replace the internet, which I mostly don't agree with.
Yeah, same subset issue, right? The metaverse will always be a subset of the internet. The word is interesting. I think it's going to jump to shark. One thing I've thought about recently is like in the States, we have this thing with dating apps where if you look at the curve of stated heights, basically nobody's 5'9", 5'10", 5'11". They're always 6 feet, and there's like no way everyone's at 6 feet tall, right? Like there's no one claims to ever be 5'9", 5'10", 5'11". And I think right now or I guess like the like more like metric versions, like no one's 179 centimeters tall. They're always like 180 or 190. Right. And so I'd imagine that the comparison or the bit about metaverse right now is a little bit like height, where if you're even like close, you're just going to claim your metaverse. And so that's probably why it's
100%. Yeah.
Yes, it's funny notion. And as well, what are your investment criteria when you decide whether to invest in this or that project or not, and in which stages do you invest usually?
I think whether it's a game or not, it's quite similar. It's you look at the team, you look at it holistically, and you look at their current progress and traction, the market size. I think it's pretty standard for us, whether we get invest in gaming or not.
And Mechanism Capital actually has like a broad mandate. You invest not only into gaming,
right.
So like you specifically focus only on gaming or not?
No, I focus across everything. I invest and trade for Mechanism as well. And I think Mechanism probably has the widest mandate. Like we could buy NFTs, we could really do anything with our money.
We have the tightest mandate as an aside, right?
Only games, not even metaverse.
Yeah.
Unless it's a game.
I think you as well invested into Discord, so it's like the biggest game.
Yeah, I guess that counts, but like it's all a game. So for what's worth, it used to be a game.
Discord used to be a game?
Yeah, Discord was a games company
initially.
I didn't know that. Yeah, it was a mobile games company, then they had to pivot into becoming like the world's probably second largest social media network.
Yeah, wow.
Maybe they should implement blockchain now.
Yeah,
they
tried.
have so many users.
I think they had a bit of pushback, I want to say, about 6 months ago.
Yeah, I remember. People were raging on Twitter.
It was a ragey time, for sure.
So do you still invest into traditional games too?
We do mostly traditional still. It's just that similar to the definition of blockchain versus traditional gaming, we just love gaming. And so it doesn't matter what gaming looks like. We are seeing more consumer-based products as well, so more SaaS gaming, which is pretty cool. We recently did an investment into an awesome company called Sanctuary, which is a great company that does astrology, like gamified astrology.
Oh, interesting.
It's like super cool.
It's really big with Gen Z now, astrology.
Yeah, huge with Gen Z.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
And like goodness gracious. Anyway, I don't try to understand why people do those things. We just try to find it.
And what is needed for the successful game?
Well, it's a great question because the answer is I don't know. And I don't know if anyone knows. I certainly can tell you that gaming is it's like trying to bottle lightning. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of failure. And the people who do it, it's hard to take learnings from them often because it's so specific to
Exactly.
moment in time.
It's kind of like when you create a movie, you can kind of like break down some of the elements that might be good for a movie, but what makes it good is like usually just a story and something that hits home with people. And it's kind of the same for gaming. You can't really be like, oh, it has to be fun and then sustainable tokenomics, and that's going to make it great, which I actually hear a lot.
I hear that a lot too. I've been thinking a lot about how, when they formed the United States, or let's just use Korea for example, like it wasn't perfect the first like 100 years of the United States, and Korea certainly wasn't perfect the first 50. I think the first peaceful exchange of government power happened in 2000 in South Korea with like President Kim Dae-jung. Like I think that's correct, right? But like it's one of those things where that's probably what we see in gaming. Like no game is born perfect; they become perfect, and they become awesome. It's just about the core loop and what's fun. You can usually spot when a game is bad, but I think it's hard. Like you can spot like really bad movies, but I think it's hard to spot like what makes it a success.
And do you play games yourself?
I play a lot of games. Yeah, I recently bought a PlayStation 5 that I'm really happy about.
So testing every potential investment.
Right. I stopped gaming for a few years, in part because it just consumed my life, and I've started to have a healthier relationship with it only in the past couple.
What about you, Eva?
I played a lot of cute MMOs growing up. Like I wasn't really into the fighting ones. But nowadays I actually mostly play sports. Like those are my physical games that I like.
Nice.
What about NFTs? Do you hold any NFTs? So are you excited about any NFT collections?
Yeah, I hold some Mizuki, and then the fund holds a bunch of like apes and crypto dick butts. I don't know if I can say that. Not in particular actually. I actually think NFTs are kind of just like tokens, and they're just digital representation of things. I wouldn't say there's a collection that I'm particularly excited about, but I am excited about when NFTs stop being about collections and it's something a bit more meaningful.
What about you, Sebastian?
Yeah, I have like cool cats and random like there's a new thing called was Dao Tai Feng, which I think is hilarious. Like it's just like a funny thing. I really am a fan of like Ruben Liu's work. He uses lighting and drones to do some really cool stuff, and I see it more as a function of mechanisms to support him. And it's like really cool that we have these mechanisms to support artists in different ways. I agree with Eva. It's almost certainly the case that like these things are representations of communities as opposed to
the NFTs themselves.
Yeah.
So for you, it's more like you have mindset of collector, and for you, it's belonging to some community, or like is it for you as well some investment deal with holding NFTs?
I think it's all of the above.
Yeah, it has to be. Right?
But actually, one that I'm really excited about that's coming out is G Money's NFT type project. I think he's going to do some really cool things with that.
Yeah, he always seems to do really cool things with random things.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, NFT OG. And as well, can you share your latest gaming or other investments?
We actually haven't made that many this year.
Is it because of the bear market, or what's the reason?
I think it's that we decided we wanted to focus more on supporting our current portfolio companies. You know, as we kind of touched on in the panel, there are a lot of difficulties and problems that they have to go through, and while we don't have the answers, we really want to devote our time to helping them find the better answers.
Yeah, I think the ones that are particularly interesting are the ones we've been doing. I actually don't know which ones are being announced, so I can't really say. Like it's a lot of our investments happened mostly last year, and we've been working actually with helping them get different press cycles. And so I don't even know like a lot of things, and this is like sort of the like magic trick of venture. A lot of investments happened a long time ago, and it just took this long for the press to come out, and so it makes for some real funny incentives. But yeah, I think overall we're super excited for the vast majority of our portfolio, and in particular the founders who are adapting really well.
And can you share as well how do you see current market and what may be the catalyst for the next bull run?
Catalyst for the next bull run. I don't really have any thoughts to share.
If you guys know, please tweet at me. And that's that part. Like, let me know what's the catalyst. I used to work in synthetic derivatives. There basically is no mechanism to tell what the catalyst for any bull run is.
Yeah.
Most macroeconomists are historians.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they'll tell you what caused the last one, but it's hard for them to tell you what's going to cause the next one.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's about as easy to protect as who's going to win the Super Bowl. We have some leading contenders. The LA Rams look good. Tom Brady is immortal somehow, and so. But I think that's basically it.
How about this match? Can it be
right?
the scene for the next bull run?
Perhaps. We won't know until it happens.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, and stay tuned. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.